Orleans Saints. They finished 9-8 last season outside of the playoffs. They lost Drew Brees in retirement, and they lost Sean Payton as well. So how do you think they did in this year's draft?
I thought their draft was just a little odd. Like I like some of their picks, Olave, and I like Penning as well. I feel like they did good in the first round, and then second round with Alontae Taylor. Um, I feel like that they did good, but I just feel like it was a weird draft. Like they traded up to get Olave whenever I don't know if they necessarily needed to do that. They're what started the wide receiver frenzy. Like when they traded up to 11 and got Chris Olave, the rest of the league panicked and was like, "Oh God, the wide receivers are going to go off the board immediately. We need to trade up now and get a wide receiver." Or if we're sitting there, we need to take a wide receiver now because these guys aren't going to be there. So they caused the whole frenzy. And while Chris Olave is going to be a beast, and I mean beast with a capital BEAS and T, I just still think that they didn't really need to trade up and make a move like that. But you know what? If your guy is there, go get your guy, and they did that. So they also got Trevor Penning, offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa, and a lot of people really didn't know about Trevor Penning coming into this draft. It was all Icky and Charles Cross and Evan Neal were the big talks of the draft for the tackle position. But Trevor Penning is just as solid of a tackle and could end up being the best offensive lineman out of this draft. But with that being said, I still thought 19 was just a little high for Penning. I really did, but he could pan out. It could all be okay. But I guess I just thought that the whole draft overall, it was just kind of confusing. They didn't go after a quarterback that I felt like they really needed some depth there to fill, even if it was in the 5th or 6th round. I mean, Carson Strong went undrafted, and Carson Strong was a heck of a quarterback in college in Nevada. He did a great job there. And I was surprised that he wasn't there. So I was surprised they didn't get him. E.J. Perry as well. I mean, there were just a lot of quarterbacks that I thought that, New Orleans at some point would have to take somebody to fill the depth because while, Jameis Winston was a great quarterback at Florida State, he has not done anything except for throw 30 picks in a year since he got into the NFL. I'm sorry, Combs, but you were horribly wrong about how great that Jameis Winston was going to be. He was not great. So I was just kind of dumbfounded that they didn't go after a quarterback. Obviously, I wasn't that surprised they didn't go after I didn't expect them to go after Pickett or Malik Willis or Ritter and get one of the top quarterback prospects in the draft, even though both of their selections, 11 and 19, were before any other quarterback went off the board. They could have taken a quarterback and they chose not to, which I kind of get that in the first round. You still want to give Jameis another shot. You still maybe even want to give Taysom another look. I don't know at this point. He wasn't that great last year when they had him fill in a little bit at quarterback. So, yeah, I was more just kind of just surprised by a lot of stuff for them. So, with that being said, they didn't really impress me that much with this draft. They got some pieces that the offense needed and the defense needed, but it wasn't. I don't think it was where they needed to select those guys, and it wasn't the best guys on the board at sometimes. So, with that being said, I still gave them a C plus because overall I thought their draft wasn't that bad. They only had 5 total picks, so there's not a lot of room to work with there if you want to add a bunch of depth and stuff. So you only got 5 picks. So they did trade up and got the 19th pick as well. Or excuse me, traded up and got the 11th pick and ended up getting the 19th as well. So they had 2 first round picks, and I thought that those were their 2 highlighting picks. I thought those were the two best. But with that being said, their best pick was, it's got to be number 11 in the first round. It's got to be Chris Olave out of Ohio State. I mean, they're pairing him with another Ohio State wide receiver in Michael Thomas. And that offense needs more wide receiver weapons. They don't have wide receivers in New Orleans. They got a great running back who acts as a wide receiver 90% of the time in the screen game in Alvin Kamara.
Right.
And they've got Michael Thomas if he can get over himself and injuries, and he can be a great wide receiver when he does that. But and they just didn't, I think Olave will add a lot of explosiveness and he adds a deep threat to this offense. But I just other than the first round, I wasn't really that impressed with everything else. I just wasn't. So like I said, their best pick for me was Chris Olave, and their grade for me was a C plus.
Yeah, so just to add to your pick there, I think we need to look into a little bit of them moving up in the draft to get a wide receiver, because Michael Thomas has kind of been a cancer on that team since he had that record-breaking season a couple years ago, and then he had an ankle injury, right? Air quotes there. And then he punched a safety, I think, in practice and got suspended for the rest of the year. So we really need to look of, like, are they going to move Michael Thomas? Like, that's why they moved up. So let me ask you that question. Do you think they are going to move Michael Thomas since they got their guy? They got their receiver.
No. I don't think they will. Simply just because, other than Olave, I think the reason why they got Olave kind of shows that they're keeping Michael Thomas, because if they weren't going to keep Michael Thomas, I think they would have traded him on draft night, and I think they would have taken 2 first-round wide receivers, because they literally have nothing. Like,
Right.
their wide receiver class is just they're out. It's empty pretty much. So while they do have Callaway, and last year I get it, he was supposed to go crazy and all this stuff. Callaway did nothing last year, absolutely nothing. And what is it, Tyquan Smith or whatever? That's their third wide receiver 3 or something. He's trash as well. So there's, it's just he's not that good of a wide receiver. They needed to add more wide receiver depth. So with that being said, yes, I do think that them going after a wide receiver in the first round, just one wide receiver in the first round, shows that they intend on keeping Michael Thomas around.
Yeah, I hope you're right for Combs' sake, because Winston is nowhere close to a top 10 quarterback. And then if you trade your top receiver, I mean, you're kind of up shit's creek without a paddle, right? Like at that point.